You visit your local cafe for some coffee or tea or whatever. You go to order and find two employees, Zim and Dib. Zim was an alien that was like EK60 and Dib was 6'5". Dib, hello, what do you want to order? Zim, using a scanner on his eyes, and his eyes got hurt. Awk!
Bubbles, a familiar Powerpuff Girl, entered the room, her blonde hair, her blue dress, and blue pupil eyes, looking at everything and everyone in curiosity, in a cute way, in a innocent, cute way.
Hey, is there any chocolate milk or coffee here?
Zim was busy rubbing his eyes and Dib was staring. Dib, yeah, we do. Dib turned his attention to the cute girl, getting a bit flustered.
Bubbles.
I'm Bubbles. You probably know me from somewhere or heard the news about me and my sisters fighting bad guys, or we're kind of superheroes.
Dib was surprised the first time he met a actual superhero Dib. Oh, yeah, I've seen you on the news a lot with your sisters. I'm a big fan, by the way.
Bubbles.
Oh, cool. Well, it's always an honor to meet a fan.
Chuckles in a cute way, her bubbly personality spread around the room.
Dib was smiling. His heart was pounding because of how cute and sweet she was, Dib. You're really sweet. Zim was in the background, still rubbing his eyes, but he had an evil grin under his hand.
Bubbles.
Oh, is he okay? He looks hurt.
Looks at Zim in concern. Immediately took out a bandage.
Zim looked at the bandaging, then looked at the girl. Zim is fine. Zim rubbed his eyes again and looked a bit embarrassed.
Bubbles.
I'm Bubbles, one of the familiar Powerpuff Girls.
Bandaging up his eyes, healing him a bit, especially kissing on the injury while healing it in concerned.
Zim was blushing hard. He didn't expect her to be this caring. Zim did not expect a kiss on the eye. Dib was in the background just watching. He was kinda jealous.
Bubbles.
Relax, there's plenty for both of you. Relax, there's plenty for both of you.
Cheerfully kissed Dib back while giggling.
There, now both. Now you're both equal.
Dib looked shocked. His face got even redder. Dib blushed red as a tomato. Thanks. Zim just looked in shock. Zim is surprised you did that so casually.
Bubbles.
I'm always the bubbly type. Don't worry about that.
Zim was a little speechless. He was still blushing and Dib was flustered. Dib, that's pretty hard to forget, honestly. Zim suddenly found his voice again. Zim was not expecting the hero to be so sweet and cute.
Bubbles, you're lucky I'm one of them.
Zim, you're right. Dib was still flustered, but he was getting his mind together and found the courage to ask a question. Dib, can I ask you something?
Bubbles.
Oh, of course. If it's about me and my sisters and our powers and abilities, or superhero strengths, or anything about our lives and all.
Dib was a bit hesitant, but he took a deep breathe. Dib, I was more wondering if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend.
Bubbles, I honestly know. Why ask?
Dib was feeling a bit nervous, but he just smiled. Dib, well, I was just curious. Zim rolled his eyes a little and whispered something only they could hear. Zim, yeah, curious. He's trying to ask you out.
Bubbles.
Oh?
Blossom appeared in the cafe out of nowhere.
Hey, Bubbles, you got the chocolate milk ready? Bubbles. Oh, actually, Blossom, there's something more than chocolate milk on the menu.
Answered to Blossom in a flirting way, while pointing at both Zim and Dib in a cute, flirty way.
Dib was surprised Blossom just suddenly teleported in the store that quickly. He was too distracted by the sudden appearance to notice what Bubbles was doing. Zim caught on very quickly and was smiling while he looked at Dib. He wasn't making it obvious, though. Ooh.
Blossom.
Oh, so are these boys interested in you all of a sudden? And desperate for your affection, I'm guessing? Bubbles. You could say that.
Dib suddenly snapped out of his slight shock and heard what Blossom said. He was now even more flustered, but still was interested. Dib, I am...
Blossom.
Oh, perhaps you're smart. I don't have intelligent of I don't have intelligent of responsibilities for my I do. Dang it. Sorry, my tongue slipped. Oh, perhaps you're smart. You're smart. I do have intelligent of responsibilities for my team myself, I guess. Bubbles. Be careful. One of them might be interested in you and end up fighting over you in any moment,
Chuckled playfully while pointing that out.
Dib was shocked. He didn't know Blossom was this sassy and sarcastic. He also didn't know how he felt about her. Dib. Zim was laughing, but he tried to hit it the best he could.
Blossom. My apologies. I just thought we are both smart and responsible for our loved ones, and I can tell in a funny way it looks like it. Bubbles.
Be careful, Blossom. I wouldn't go too flattering if I were you.
Dib was getting all flustered and was starting to get distracted. But once he heard what Blossom said, he got back to his thoughts. Now he was thinking about both of them, but he didn't want to admit it. Dib. I'm definitely smart and responsible.
Bubbles looks at Zim, then began to chuckle with a playful idea. She looked back to Blossom, whispering a playful fun plan.
Psst, Blossom! Hey, Blossom! Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Blossom, in concerned, curiously. May have an idea on what Bubbles was thinking about, and she decided to play along with it with a smirk of interest while nodding. Both of them turned back to Zim and Dib with a flirting smile.
Zim saw the two have a private conversation and then turned back with a more flirtatious smile on their faces. Zim looks at Dib, who still is distracted from the two. Oh, great, Dib. Dib was distracted by his thoughts, but he looked at the two and was shocked by his sudden surroundings. Huh?
Blossom. So you both come out more often? Asking in a romantic, attracting way, trying to swoon them. Part of Bubbles' plan. Bubbles chuckled.
Zim was starting to get caught off guard. He couldn't even say a word, but he still had a faint grin on him. Dib was stunned, and he was starting to stutter a bit. Sometimes...
Bubbles holds Zim in a adorable way, trying to swoon him.
What girls do you find interest these days?
Zim's heart was pounding fast. He was a little surprised by how fast the situation changed and how close Bubbles was to him. Zim tried to regain his normal tone of voice, but it got shaky for a few words. The girls I find interesting usually have a good sense of humor and a caring personality.
Bubbles.
Oh, really?
Cuddling him like She really cares about him and protecting him while feeling around his body and head. Blossom continues circling around Dib in a attractive way, going as planned.
Zim. Zim was blushing and he found it a bit hard to focus. He was also getting a bit flustered with her feeling around him and cuddling Zim. And, also, a nice and pretty personality. And Zim was too flustered to say the rest. Dib was a little too focused on what was happening. His heart was racing and he was blushing, but was trying to keep a poker face.
Bubbles.
Well, that's cute. I find you pretty smart, intelligent, and very funny.
Kiss his cheek. Blossom. You know, have you ever had a girlfriend or boyfriend before?
Zim. Zim didn't expect the kiss on his cheek, but he was enjoying it, and he was enjoying being called cute and pretty. No. Zim hasn't had a girlfriend before. Dib was a bit surprised that now Blossom changed her target to him. He didn't know what to say at first, but he found the courage to keep talking. I actually haven't either.
Blossom, well, leans in closer to Dib. Wanna be mine? Bubbles.
Well, this bubbly gumdrop here is looking for some smart, funny alien guys like you, Zim. You think I'm your girl?
Damn.
Dib's face got redder than it's ever been. He couldn't believe what Blossom was saying. All he was able to do was nodding and speechless. Zim. Zim was surprised by the question, but he didn't expect to feel a weird, fluttering feeling in his stomach. Zim looked at Bubbles, and yes.
Bubbles squeals in interest.
So, does that mean you want to go out with me?
Ruffling Zim in interest. Blossom, so Dib, how would you feel if I was your girlfriend?
Zim would like that. Dib was so stunned. He was a speechless mess, but he was getting himself together, but he couldn't keep his face from going red and hot. I'd feel amazing.
Blossom, then it's settled. Holds Dib's hand. Bubbles hugs Zim while winking.
We're dating!
Zim wasn't used to getting hugs, and he just wrapped his arms around her and smiled. Yes, we are. Dib smiled and held Blossom's hand, and he chuckled a bit, still trying to process he was now dating one of the Powerpuff Girls.
Buttercup went into the cafe to get root beer until she saw her sisters with an alien and a paranormal investigator. She smirk a bit as she sees what's happening. Bubbles is snuggling around Zim while Blossom fluffs Dib's hair. Buttercup watches this in amusement, feeling like teasing a little bit.
Dib was trying to keep a cool composure, but he was very happy and kinda distracted by Blossom's touch. Zim was too distracted to notice Buttercup watching them. He was enjoying the cuddling too much.
Buttercup, oh well. Look what both of my sisters found. Some boys that look hot, I see. Bubbles. Blossom.
Oh, Buttercup, this isn't what it looks like.
Dib heard and looked at Buttercup. He was a bit shocked. Dib, it's a bit exactly what it looks like. Zim finally looked up and saw Buttercup, and he had a puzzled and irritated look on his face.
Buttercup, ain't this hot? Looks like you both have some crushes on your own. Teasing playfully in amusement. Bubbles.
Oh, sis, let us explain. They were just trying to get their work done, and we didn't mean to bother them.
Covering herself underneath Zim's body, blushing a bit. Blossom was a bit nervous and flustered. She holds Dib close.
Dib was trying to hide his flustered face and was trying to not get distracted by Blossom's touch and presence. Dib, well, you're not interrupting, Zim. Zim just watched the four of them. His eyes went wide when Buttercup mentioned them having crushes. He started getting a little embarrassed.
Blossom in concern. Trying to be all responsible. Listen, we're just trying to help them out on their job here. They needed a break. Buttercup. Yeah, right, sis.
Dib was surprised to see how Blossom was trying to be defensive and responsible. Dib, yeah, exactly. We're just here to take a break. Zim was just watching them. He didn't really know what to say, but he knew Buttercup didn't believe a word of what was told.
Buttercup. I know my sister is my whole life. I know my sisters my whole life, and I know you both are just desperate to have man around ya. Bubbles.
Shut up! It's embarrassing.
Covers her face on Zim's chest. Blossom rolled her eyes a bit, still concerned about all this.
Dib couldn't hold a straight face because of what Buttercup said. He knew it was somewhat true, but he didn't want to really admit it. Zim smirked a bit when he saw Bubbles hiding on his chest. Now he was trying to cover up a laugh.
Blossom, look, Buttercup. Think that all you want, but we're just Bubbles.
Close pals, that's all.
Trying to convince Buttercup that her and Zim and Blossom and Dib are not really a thing, but Bubbles secretly enjoys having a crush on Zim. Continue to snuggle. Buttercup chuckled a bit while watching the romance scene before her in interest.
Dib laughed a little at Buttercup's reaction to what her sister was saying. Dib, yeah, close pals, right. Zim couldn't contain his laugh when he saw the two trying to cover up a lie about something they knew was true, but he was also enjoying having Bubbles cuddled into him.
Buttercup, oh really? If you're really close friends, then why are you trying to kiss them? Trying to kiss them? Or be playful flirty around them, huh? Glancing at Bubbles and Blossom, seeing right through them in amusement. Both Bubbles and Blossom pause in a mix of concerning disbelief, nervousness. They blushing shade red, their hearts pumping crazy.
Dib's eyes went wide as he realized Buttercup figured out their small secret. Dib, ooh-ah? Zim's face also went a bit red when Buttercup called them out. He also knew there was no denying it now.
Bubbles.
What? I don't know what you're...
Blossom. Buttercup. Seriously. Blossom, Bubbles, you really think you could fool me from this? The boys are definitely going to hit on you if you keep flirting with them.
Dib was just stunned at how quickly Buttercup caught on to them. Dib, how'd you know? Zim found himself speechless again. He didn't expect Buttercup to catch them that easily.
Bubbles.
Zim, please ignore my sister. She's watching way too many movies.
Buttercup. You're really into Dib and Zim, are you, Blossom and Bubbles? Blossom.
Dib was still surprised by the words Buttercup was saying. Dib, really? Zim couldn't hold back a small smile when Buttercup said that.
Bubbles.
Me deeply for Zim? Into Zim?
Blossom.
Me and Dib?
Buttercup smirked in interest.
Dib was speechless for a second. He saw how nervous Blossom suddenly became Dib. Zim smiled again. He wanted to hear more of what was happening.
Blossom. Buttercup, don't be ridiculous. Trying to act annoyed but secretly flustered in love while holding Dib. Buttercup smirked playfully. Really now? Bubbles kept holding Zim a bit tight but snuggly.
Dib was stunned by how Blossom was acting. He knew she was flustered, but was also surprised how hard she was trying to hide it. Dib, you know, she does have a point. Zim saw how firm and tight Bubbles was holding him. He couldn't lie how much he was enjoying every second of it.
Buttercup, and why are you both girls so attached? Attached to Dib and Zim, huh? Chuckles with a grin, looking at them. Bubbles stares at Zim, still a little red, while Blossom looks at Dib and back to Buttercup in flush annoyance.
Dib chuckled nervously and found himself blushing a bit, but he still was looking at Blossom, trying to see how she'll react to the question. Dib, yeah, I'm actually wondering why myself. Zim got a bit flustered when he saw Bubbles staring at him, and he smiled at how Blossom was slowly losing her cool.
Blossom, I'm not that attached to Dib, but Buttercup, I just find him smart and generous. Bubbles,
Same with me and Zim. He's interesting and cute.
Buttercup rolled her eyes, still smirking. Now, no. And clearly that they want them knowing clearly that they want them as flirty boyfriends. Knowing.
Dib chuckled and couldn't help but smile when he heard Blossom compliment him. Dib, and I find Blossom very beautiful and caring. Zim tried to contain a smile as he heard what Bubbles said. He also heard how Blossom and Bubbles were both slowly losing their attempts of hiding their feelings.
Bubbles and Blossom, we should go out on a date. I guess you guys need a break from the work. Bubbles,
Yeah, vacation time. You must need a vacation.
Buttercup watching from afar with amusement.
Dib got a bit surprised by the idea of a date, but liked the sound of it. Dib date sounds nice. Zim also was a bit surprised, and he smiled. Zim, yeah, we could use a small break.
Blossom, well then let's go then. Grabbed onto Dib's hand and fly off. Bubbles wrapped around Zim, also flying off. Buttercup was left in the cafe, looking around for coffee with a smirk on her face.
Dib couldn't help but smile when he was grabbed by Blossom and flown away. He tried holding on to her as best he could. Zim found himself enjoying the feeling of Bubbles being wrapped around him and holding on to him, and he smiled blissfully as they flew.
Bubbles,
So, what should we do first? A restaurant? A movies?
Zim tried to think between a movie or restaurant. Zim. How about a movie first?
Bubbles,
Good idea. Which one do you guys like?
Blossom fly around, trying to find the best movie theater in town.
Dib tried to look around to see if he could maybe spot which movie theater would be the best. Dib. This one looks nice.
Blossom,
Oh, the old-fashioned one. I guess so.
Bubbles,
What kind of movies do you guys like anyway?
Dib thought to himself about which movies he's into. Dib, well, I like some thrillers and action. Zim tried to think of what movies he liked. Zim, and I like some horror movies or any sort of action movies.
Blossom, Bubbles,
Why don't we watch Scream?
Blossom, Oh, that's a classic. It's funny. Oh, that's a classic. It's funny and action packs, survivors, and a good horror thrill for Halloween and humor.
Dib found the choice pretty great and smiled. Dib, yeah, I don't see why not. Zim also liked the idea of seeing a thriller and horror movie, so he nodded and smiled a bit.
They went inside the theater and placed their tickets on the booth. Bubbles,
Tickets for the movie screen? 1996, please.
the ticket booth owner, checks out and leads them to the floor where the movie playing.
Dib stuck close to Blossom, almost by accident, as he followed her and the others. Zim followed right beside Dib and Bubbles. He was starting to get a bit excited about seeing the movie he picked out.